Maruti is latest in the premium SUV segment, and they're making a foray into this segment after a very, very long time. Is with this. This is the Grand Vitara, a premium, C-segment SUV that will go up against the likes of Hyundai's Creta, Kia Seltos, and of course Toyota's Hyryder as well. This will be manufactured at Toyota's production facility near Bidadi for Maruti and for Toyota as well, and it will be exported to several countries and markets around the world. Let me tell you a little bit more about what it's got under the hood. Is the 1.5 strong hybrid powertrain, which means that this car, the Grand Vitara, uses a 1 kWh battery, which will, of course, run on electric power alone, which will make it run on electric power alone. Now, that essentially has taken fuel efficiency to 27.9 kilometers per litre, almost 28 kilometers per litre for the Grand Vitara, which makes it one of the most efficient SUV in the market today. So you're seeing the benefits of hybrid technology being applied to SUVs is certainly a big advantage for any car maker. Maruti, of course, is going to enjoy and reap the benefits of that. I'm quickly going to take you on a walk around, and this is what you see as the front end, LED lamps, and of course a new grille design. But let me take you more towards the side profile, which I think is a far more imposing, has got a lot more presence, looks much nicer. Front end to the tail, from one wheel to the other, a very imposing design language. It's now sitting on Apollo Apteras, and these are 17-inch alloys and tires, 215/60 profile, 17-inch wheels and tires. Again, disc brakes both at the front and the rear end. Interestingly, these tires are mud and snow profile, M+S. That's the profile that they've got, which of course means that it can be driven on rather extensively on off-road trails and should be able to do a little more interesting stuff than the conventional SUV. Moving to the tailgate, you've got the wraparound tail lamp effect. It extends from the left fender, goes all the way around. It's a nice wraparound effect, looks pretty smart, very interesting design language. Again, the tail lamp badging right here. The hybrid is, of course, this badge out here indicates the powertrain under the hood, and the Nexa badge. Now, I don't know why there's a badge on the windscreen. Well, too much of brand work going on. The boot, fairly large, fairly spacious. It has a partition over here. If you look at it, this partition essentially, however, and this comes in because of the hybrid powertrain. You've got the battery unit sitting right here in the back. And effectively, this reduces boot space considerably. If you look at it, this cannot be taken off. The battery and its associated elements are under that over here, and because of that, the spare wheel sits under the bodywork. So this is what the interiors of the Grand Vitara look like. What I can say is that this is a fairly large, in-your-face, and a far more bolder treatment to the interior than I've seen on the exterior, for that matter, which is interesting, which is surprising. Now, here is the drivetrain. This is an automatic for that matter, because it's the hybrid system. That's the eCVT, which means there isn't a transmission necessarily. It's an electric motor and with a single ratio providing motive force to the Grand Vitara. Steering wheel, again, continues to follow that very traditional Suzuki look and feel, but it's a nice chunky bit to hold in your hands. I do like the placement of buttons and switches on the steering wheel. They all feel very nice. I like these. This element out here is the controls for, activating all your voice calls and, for voice commands as well. Right out here on the dashboard, it's got this mirror finish veneer and is going to attract a lot of fingerprints. Again, very similar to what we've seen in the previous generation or other previous Maruti Suzuki cars. The layout is very similar to that. But again, large screen, large element sitting out here, but the actual usable surface is fairly small. Now, right behind the steering wheel also the instrument console. That's a completely digital instrument console and provides you with a lot of information, provides you with a lot of data that you would want to know, data points that come up on that instrument console. I do like the tactility and the touch and feel of the buttons out here. The finish and fit and finish, I must say, is quite impressive. Now, what I do like is that the soft touch plastics, they're nice. The hard touch plastics that you see on the dashboard, the top of the dashboard, it is plasticky. Of course, this being Maruti, cost cutting is going to be a huge target for production as well. And you can see some of those elements in this cabin. It's not bereft of those elements. One important step I must show over here is the ventilated seats. And there's the function controls for both the driver and the passenger over here as well. Grand Vitara has got 6 airbags, you've got ESP, you've got traction control, you've got hill descent control, and of course there's that 4x4 powertrain as well. So all of those will come in quite handy. There you have it. Again, this is essentially what the entire car feels like. I'm going to quickly step into the rear seat and show you what the space is like on that rear bench as well. So here I am in the back seat or at the back end of the cabin, and it's not a very spacious area to be in. There is limited amount of knee room and of course the headroom as well, as you can see, and that's also because these are very, how would I say, this very chubby seats. You sit fairly high up. It's a comfortable position to be in. I do like how supportive the seats are, especially for the driver and the passenger. Features also fairly Spartan in that sense. While you've got the large panoramic sunroof, which I'm not a big favorite of, which I'm not very fond of, but you do get AC vents and a blow control, of course, for the rear passengers, and you've got the charging points, both Type C and regular USB charging points. Overall, a fairly generous and spacious cabin. I think this is something that should hold well for Maruti. Now, the big challenge for Maruti, of course, is this transition into the premium SUV, or rather into the premium segment. Doesn't matter whether it's a sedan or an SUV. Maruti hasn't been very successful in the segment, and now the attempt to come back to this class of buyer is going to be a fairly challenging aspect for them. Nonetheless, overall, as a package, the Grand Vitara is a fairly good statement of what Maruti is capable of delivering to this segment, and I'm hoping they're able to make that turnaround this time and of course establish its credentials as not just as India's largest value for money car maker, but also one who can move beyond those boundaries into the premium segment.